Tonight's meeting agenda, we'll start out as normal with our flag salute, and we'll go through some quick announcements. And then we're going to meet and hear about Santa Clarita Sheriff Station, and Captain Roosevelt Johnson is here to tell us all about what's going on. Then we're going to go through and talk about a 50-year celebration at Leona Cox from the Leona Cox PTA, and they're going to invite us to their celebration, and hopefully we can be there. Also, we had some individuals that came to the City Council meeting at the last meeting to talk about the Chiquita landfill expansion. So they seem very passionate about it, and it's a very big issue in Val Verde. So I invited them to come and talk about it here. And of course, then it goes on, like I said, it goes on video, and you guys can use it however you like. Lastly, again this year, we'll talk about the Santa Clarita City Survey. And we go through and we analyze it every year, and we talk about who did it and how it's done and whether it's effective or not. And so we'll do it again this year. Then our version of public participation, which is the first 5 people that come up and want to speak for a minute. And if you do, then there's a sign-up sheet, and we'll take care of that. And we're not having an end-of-the-year celebration. I just forgot to take that off the agenda list. And then we'll adjourn the meeting. At every one of our meetings at the start, we try to look at and find somebody, some normal person that did exceptional things. And I don't think anybody has to tell you, you've probably heard it in the news 150,000 times, about the French terrorist attack on the newspaper. And there were 12 people killed at the newspaper, and then later 4 people killed at a Paris kosher market. And I think it was very interesting for several reasons. One, because, you know, we've been listening to Boko Haram kidnapped 200 girls a month or two ago, and the press kind of talks about it a little bit and goes away. But as soon as it hits the press, then they're really anxious to talk about it, and it's a good thing because it brings out what's happening. And you may, at any time, this is one of the things we discuss all the time, is that you may at any time unknowingly be in a position to be a hero like Lasana Brathwaite. And here this gentleman who worked at the kosher market, who also happened to be Muslim, grabbed some of the patrons, led them down to the basement, hid them in the freezer, turned all the appliances off, hid them in the freezer, and then snuck out and informed the police how to get in to mitigate the situation. So here's another individual that was in a certain place at a certain time and showed us that there are heroes all around us. And with that, Captain Johnson, would you lead us in the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just for some quick announcements, you'll notice that there are some changes that have occurred. We're changing the podium and the camera layout to try to make it a little better and a little easier for you to see what's going on. And then also, we've taken the announcements and taken out the items of interest. And we're going to just speed those out between presentations this time so we can get through the announcements quicker and we can get started with the main part of the show. So here at the Moose Lodge, coming up on January the 24th, they're going to have a cook-off, chili cook-off. Find out who makes the best chili. If you think that maybe you could win because you have the ultimate recipe, it's only $10 to enter. And if you just want to come and taste the chili, or just, it's $8 for dinner. So there you go. Enter if you dare. Also, on February the 1st, Super Bowl Sunday, the Moose is also going to have a Super Bowl party. So if you want to come help, you want to support the Moose, just want to have a fun time at Super Bowl, they'll be here. The Latino Chamber of Commerce is holding a business mixer at the Trinity Classical Academy on January the 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. Cost is $10 for chamber members or $15 for non-members. Be a time to meet some of the local Latino business people in the area. And also this year's Cowboy Festival. We ought to talk about that to some extent. This is the 22nd year, but this is a year where the venue is changing. It's not going to be in Melody Ranch, and it's going to be, for the most part, at Hart Park or areas around Newhall. So on April the 18th and 19th, it'll be at William S. Hart Park, $10 admission for adults, and $7 for youngsters 12 and under. April 15th through the 17th, they're going to be doing things all up and down Main Street. The Canyon Theater Guild will be there, will be open. The Rep will be open for some special events. And then Census will occur on Thursday as normal on April the 18th with 15 bands and a lot more. So they're spending a ton of money down there in Newhall. We might as well all go have a good time with it. So lastly, Old Orchard Park. I don't know how many of you have been at events at Old Orchard Park. It's on Lyons Avenue, one of the oldest parks in the city. It's I played softball there many times. It's a really great place. And now they're talking about renovating it, as far as not so much the diamond, but renovating the facilities that go around it with it. So they're asking for input from the public, and so you can go take their survey online at SantaClarita2020.com, and there'll be some additional meetings that will also be taking place. So if you want your voice to be heard, well, just go ahead and fill out the survey. Attendance last month, 2 months ago actually, and went down a little bit, but it still was pretty good. But the thing that always amazes me when we look at video statistics. Now here you go, video statistics up at 301 again. Well, 301 happens to be a magic number for Facebook. Anybody else get caught in the 301 club? No? Well, it turns out that when you hit 301, Facebook goes and investigates to see if it's a real number of people watching it or it's a computer-generated thing. And then supposedly what they do is they go investigate it, and then they either let it go or they tell you that it was not really people watching it. But I went back and looked at our other 301s and found out that they never did anything except just stop counting at 301. So I'll try to figure out what's going on, and we'll let you know. But we're still tracking we're still tracking our video statistics to see what you're interested in. And when we see those big spikes go up there, we go look and see what it was that was there and how we may get more of it for you here. Does anybody, do we have anybody who wants to speak? Doug Frazier. Yes.
I'm Doug Frazier and we're fighting for the manufactured home communities. At City Council meeting 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, Ken Strickland sort of let it slip that the ordinance issue is going to be brought before the City Council on February 24th. So anybody that wants to support that, at least come out on that night. We're going to try to get a big show to present our issue towards the City Council on that night. Thank you.
Okay. On the next meeting, what we'll do is we're going to talk a little bit about medians. As you might have known, if you've been to the last two City Council meetings, the city has spent $750,000 at the last two City Council meetings. One, to hire a company to watch the company that they hired to maintain the median. And then they spent another $250,000 to hire a company to catalog the medians and figure out when they might have to replace certain things. So because of that, we feel that the median should be perfect in every way. We've spent a lot of money on it. No, in reality, we want to talk about areas where the landscaping is not doing well, how we can report it, and then I think we need to hold the guys accountable, particularly the $500,000 group that are supposed to maintain this stuff and tell them when it's not being done correctly, and see why that's the case. And I noticed going down Via Princesa yesterday that those medians are looking shabby. And, of course, the ones on Soledad between Sand Canyon and Shadow Pines are looking shabby. And so we just need to go and how you report them and what the city's going to do about them. And we want to keep track of when we start putting in these requests for service and say, we need this repaired or that repaired, how long it takes them to react. So again, this is a question of how the city spends its money. You have a purchasing department that goes out and writes up and selects vendors that are supposed to be there, qualified and guys that do good work. And then I would assume that the city would check that they're doing work, but they evidently need about $500,000 worth of help. And I'm not sure that's the only money that they're spending there. And then, so we'll go through that in grave detail. Also, it's about time to start talking about business improvement districts. We can also look at the crime statistics too. That's always fun to do. We do that about every 5 years. We actually look at them. Remember that the crime statistics that they always talk about, we've talked about it here before, but the crime statistics they always talk about comes off of the FBI website. That does not mean that the FBI generated the data. Our own group, our own sheriff's department generates the data, sends it to the FBI, and on it they say you should not use this data to compare yourself with other municipalities. And what's the first thing that we do? We compare ourselves with other municipalities, right?
Speaking of shabby, while you're talking about shabby, on the billboards, if you do see any billboards that do have graffiti or that they're blowing in the wind or any problems with the billboards that still exist that look ugly, you can report it directly to CBS or Outfront Media. CBS changed its name, or you can give it to me at No on Measure S, and I will contact them. The billboard companies are very receptive, much more so than the city council, to hearing from us and making sure that they're good citizens in the community. I'm not a shill for the building, but if you see something that might be a safety hazard or that blights our community, they're willing to listen to you and will send crews out to fix it.
Good. And I notice also that we're starting to see a lot of graffiti on just realtor signs. Realty signs.
Oh, no, better not.
Yes, we are. Now remember, you can send that into the city as well, and they'll go notify whoever it is that needs to take them off. Anyhow, thank you very much for choosing to come to County Country Advisory Committee. I hope we'll get to see all of you back next month, and we'll try to do this one more time.